so excited today because this is African Film Producers. This is Mastershare, where we are going to be getting in the masters to share the experiences. We need to learn, we need to grow. And that's now basically what we're going to be doing and talking about the conversation we're having today. So we're talking to Joe Njagu. Thank you so much, Joe, for having us, because literally we are all excited. And I think before we talk to you, I need everyone to watch the trailer. For those of you who haven't watched the trailer, I need you to watch this trailer for 2 minutes. It's going to just be introducing the movie Cook Off, which is so amazing. And this is what we're talking about today. And for you guys to see what Joe has been able to do. Now, here we go.
I think I missed my chance. But life isn't fair. I go to school. Yeah, big dreams.
She's such a disappointment. You started cooking again. How is
his name is Tapua.
I love you.
He's the only thing I managed to do right in this life.
So we're looking for 16 chefs to take part in the Battle of the Chefs.
You should enter, Mom. I really think you can do it. This is for professional chefs. I wouldn't stand chance. What is it? We've entered you into the cooking competition. What? Over the next 10 weeks, we'll be eliminating the weakest each week. Only good, Mom. Go big or go home.
You ready for this?
I'm gonna kick your butt.
Disappointed?
I'm really not cut out for this.
We all agree.
Only professional chefs have ever made it past the second round.
I hope there's nothing too experimental with this dish, because you know we like our salad the way we like it.
I saw your ancestry is now in the TV. I'm here on Battle of the Chefs to just show what single mothers are capable of. When am I going to meet this Prince Charming of yours?
You're not like any other girl I've met. You do your best.
Believe in yourself. Good luck, Mom. Tapia really had his hopes up. I just feel like I'm way, way out of my depth. It's a good thing when people like you know their place.
I didn't think you were a quitter.
Maybe this was all a mistake.
One last thing. I meant this too. And if it comes down to me versus you, I won't hold back.
Sounds like it's a little challenge in there.
You gave us a piece of charcoal on a plate, masquerading as chicken. You're the weakest chef. Bye-bye.
Great. So, everyone. So, Joe, what are some of the challenges that you faced just filming the film?
So maybe a little bit of background on Zimbabwe and how things stand film-wise.
Hello?
Can you guys hear me clearly?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in Zimbabwe, it's I always like to say, like, I don't even like to call it a film industry because there's none. I like to refer to it as a film community, right? That's trying to develop into an industry. And people like to say that, like, there was an industry back then in Zim that died and then nothing happened. And then now we're trying to sort of like bring it back. But I actually even dispute the past of saying like there was an industry, because I feel like Zim was more like the industry back then was more driven by NGO driven, where it was like information driven. There's a pandemic, let's spread the message to the masses. Film was used as and this wasn't done by locals. This was done by people coming from the outside. And you have Zimbabwe as a location and have like Zimbabweans as cast. But in terms of the actual production of it, it's not Zimbabweans that are like above the line as producers, as the writers, as the directors. So when that died, when the funding died from NGOs and all that, that phase ended, that era of filmmaking. And where we are now is probably because like back then the industry wasn't commercial. Because for us to call it an industry, there has to be commerce, there has to be creation of jobs, there has to be continuity from production to production. And that wasn't happening. right? So now in comes this new crop of filmmakers. I could say that came like in the 2000s era, where we're realizing, you know what, we need to create an industry. And for us to create an industry, like there has to be sustainability, there has to be commerce, it has to be commercial. So I've been part of this new crop of filmmakers since, say, the 2000s, trying to bring commercialization to the industry, to bring it forward so that there's continuation between production to production to production to production. So where we stand now with Cook-Off, how we got to make Cook-Off.
Yes.
I've been a filmmaker here in Zim for the past 14 years. I've been in and out of Zimbabwe. You know, like I've worked a lot, like in UK, in America, like in and around Africa. But like back home, I got to a point where I realized, you know what, I need to come back home and try and build something back home.
That's amazing, yeah, because lots of people don't do that.
Yeah. So for me, the key that I believed to this is collaboration, is coming together. So in as much as we didn't have much to get the industry going, I believed like the skill set we have as people, even the rental companies, like I've always been preaching, like if we come together and can come up with as a collaboration, we can bring about something. So Cook-Off is like I think I'll say like the test that we said, you know what, like the director of Cook-Off, Thomas Bickel, because we've known each other for a very long time, we've been friends for a very long time, and I've always been preaching about this whole collaboration thing. And when he wrote Cook-Off, he's like, dude, I'm gonna call your bluff. You've always been talking about trying to collaborate and all that. Here's a project, let's see what we can do, right? That's sort of like how I got on board as producer for Cook-Off.
Okay.
And sort of came around the time I had finished this fellowship. There's this fellowship called Yali Mandela Washington Fellowship, which is like a brainchild of ex-president Barack Obama. And I just been on that fellowship where it had sort of changed my, like the way I wanted to go about my career. And like so with the program, right? You do the program like in the US, and then the last week of the program, you spend it with President Obama. You know, like you meet him in Washington and all that.
Oh,
and he said something that stuck with me, which was so powerful, where he said, the image of Africa that exists right now, for as long as it's like that, the rest of the world will continue to aid Africa and not trade with Africa. And he said, for that image to change, it's all in the hands of filmmakers to change that image. And that really stuck with me, because he got to a point where he was like, you know what, there's everyone, open your phone, Google the word Africa, click on images. What do you see, right? And all you see when you click on Africa, trees, animals, like I think the only image of a human being is like a little babe. Exactly. It's like this little boy holding this yellow container with water, and he's got mucus all over him. Like there's nothing positive about the image of Africa. And it's within our power to paint that, right? And when Thomas came with Cook-Off, right? Like I'd been reading the different drafts as he was writing like the script, and it was such a positive story, and it painted a different light. Like we in Africa, people also fall in love. In Africa, people also enjoy nice food. In Africa, people also live in nice houses. You know, and I saw that as a chance to sell that message, to sell that image to the rest of the world. You know,
and you know, you did it so beautifully.
Sort of like,
you did it so beautifully. Let's first really just look at the cast members. There was Tendishe Chitima, Tendai, Chitima, yes, and Diamond, and they did pretty good. That was a very beautiful pair. I love the two of them together.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So from the get-go, you Christine, you broke off a little bit. You said what?
No, I was saying, tell us more about the cast. How was it picking out now those beautiful images of beautiful African people, as you said, falling in love and good food?
Yeah, so for the casting, it was something that so Tom, like who was the director, what I liked was he was pretty clear on the vision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where and one thing we gelled on was the image we wanted to portray of Africa. Like if you notice, deliberately, the women had natural hair.
Yes.
And yes, like
No
it was like a
makeup.
deliberate move. Yes, it was like a deliberate move on us to say, you know what, this is the image we're gonna paint. On the casting, what we did was all the guys that are in the movie are like stars back home here in Zimbabwe. Like they're all well known.
Mm-hmm.
It's like 10 Diamond, who plays the love interest. He's like the biggest hip hop artist in the country. So he's like a big celebrity here. Jessesi, who was the go-go, she's like the woman who played Neria, which is like the most popular Zimbabwean film ever. So it was us knowing that, you know what, let's bring all we can. Let's make it star-studded, which was like a deliberate move to say, let's make it the best it can be cast-wise.
But now, what were some of the challenges? Because everyone here wants to know. When you were filming the film, did you have Netflix in mind, or how did you start with that?
Okay, so
because I remember he challenged you. He gave you a challenge, the director.
Yes. So from the get-go, when we set, me and Thomas, when he said, you know what, I want you on board, and then I agreed to jump on board, and I was like, okay, what do we have? Is there a budget? What's going on? Right? Tell me everything. And he's like, well, we don't have a budget. All that's there is $8,000 US, right? And obviously, like that's not even enough. Like that won't even crack it, right?
Yeah.
But realizing between myself and Thomas, because Thomas, what the advantage that we had with the story, right? So here's a backstory of how Cook-Off came about. So the show you see, the Battle of the Chefs show that you see in the movie, it's an actual show that's done here in Zimbabwe, right? It's like a MasterChef series, right? And the advantage was that Thomas was the director of that show, of Battle of the Chefs.
So it was easy to transition that into the film.
Yeah. So because it's almost like Cook-Off was inspired by Battle of the Chefs, like the story, right? So the big advantage we had was the relationship Tom already had with the producer of Battle of the Chefs, this guy called Joseph Bunga, who here in Zimbabwe, where he had already managed to negotiate for us to be able to use the actual set of Battle of the Chef. So the set that we used in the film is the actual set in Battle of the Chefs. And even the presenter is the actual presenter of Battle of the Chefs. So that was already like a big advantage and a big chunk that's already out of the budget in terms of set, costume, because that was coming from that show. And then we leveraged like relationships that we had locally, like with the big, like there's this one big rental company here called MMX, who gave us all the gear. So for free, like they collaborate. It was a collaboration. So that took away the big chunk of gear from the budget, right? And because we're working with we have $8,000 in our hands, and we have to make sure. Exactly. So gear is covered, the set is covered, costumes are covered. So and then one of the biggest things was, so when we were casting, right? We were going for these big stars already in the country, and we have no budget, right? And we have no money, and we know that from the onset that everyone has to agree to a deferred payments method, and not just a deferred payment, but we're saying to these people, it's not a guarantee that you're going to get paid, because we're leveraging. If the film doesn't sell, you're not getting any.
You didn't have Netflix in mind.
No, that we did not. Like,
So I
don't
will
want to lie to
strike
say,
off that question of
yes,
you paid
we're
to
not
do that.
we're not going to lie and say, oh, we were targeting to be on Netflix.
Yes.
But the one thing that we had agreed on from the onset was that let's make this film the best it can be and push it as far as we can push it.
Yes.
Like that was our goal. So automatically, like we were already in that mode where we wanted to use everything we had to make the best film we can make.
Okay.
Right. So this meant that using the best camera that was in the country, using the best crew that's in the country, but with no budget. So all we had to sell, like, the vision is the vision we have to say, okay, to any crew member, you're coming on board, here's the script, here's our vision.
Exactly. We are paying you vision.
We have no money. But we have no money.
Yeah. How hard was that? How challenging was that? Did you find that a lot of filmmakers, I mean, sometimes we get to do those jobs because you think, okay, maybe one day this film will be picked up. So did they have that same enthusiasm that you had? I think the one thing that was like a seller was the script. Like, I remember, like, when you read the script, it was such a feel-good story, reading it. Like, where you're like, this could be very interesting. And one of the big advantages, like, that Tom and I had is that we had relationships with people in the industry already, right? Where from even the DOP for Cook Off was the DOP for Battle of the Chefs, the series. Yes.
So he had already bought into the vision when they were doing Battle of the Chefs. He's like, cool, I'll jump on board. So we used that. We leveraged, like, the relationships we already had to say, guys, this is what we're about to jump on. And there's a statement which I really like to say, and I remember saying it to a bunch of people, saying, film is selfish, right? And I'll explain in that anyone, when you make a film, everyone was part of the film, from the gaffer to the cleaner to the runner, can claim it, Like, you can say, have you seen my film, which I lit?
Yes.
Have you seen my film, which I did sound on? Have you seen my film, which I did makeup on? It's your film. Like, whatever department you were in, you can claim the film. So that was part of the selling pitch to cast and crew, to say, you know what, we're about to jump on this thing. We're going to give it all we have. Are you in or are you out? So to be honest, it wasn't really much of a hard sell to cast and crew, because like, they could see what we were trying to do, and it was easy for them to jump on board and say, you know what, let's go. Let's see where this takes us. So finally, everyone got on board, and you came up with a beautiful film. Take us through, after that, how did you start getting it out there in the market? So for us, the one thing that we were super clear on, right, was that we need to push this film as much as we can, right? But appreciating that we know a film's journey, like a film's journey. You finish a film, festivals. You try to find distribution from film markets in festivals. So for us, we said, you know what? Let's target the big festivals. Let's see how far we can take this. And we were fortunate enough that the first film festival that we were accepted in was like a big festival, International Film Festival Rotterdam in the Netherlands, and they accepted the film and gave us like the world premiere for the film. So that was like a big plus for us. And myself and Thomas, we managed to go there. We did like 3 screenings, all sold out, And from there, I could say Rotterdam was like the confidence boost for us to be like, we might be onto something here. Like that actually happened in Rotterdam. Like, I remember me and Tom, we were sitting in the hotel room and be like, dude, we might be onto something here, right? Like, I actually remember that conversation where for us, we thought, it's this little film from Zimbabwe, and appreciating and knowing that, you know what, Zimbabwe is not even in the conversation in the film world, like when nowhere on the film map. But for us, let's put as much weight as we can on this little film that we made with love. And so we knew, you know what, the more festivals we hit, the more laureates we can put on the poster, the more weight the film can gain.
Exactly.
We were very much aware of that.
Because even when it starts,
in
the
Rotterdam,
starts, you can definitely see, all the accolades.
Yes.
So that already makes you think, wow, this movie must be amazing. Well done on that.
So that was something that was so deliberate, where we were like, you know what, we need to push on that. So we did like a 2.5 year festival run, because we made the film in 2017, like 3 years ago.
Yes.
And we made an effort to say, you know what, let's push it. So the advantage we had, like, so in Rotterdam, we managed to meet up with like lots of festival directors in the Netherlands, and started conversations where, like, you meet up with the festival director from Durban, you have a conversation, and this made it easy for us to apply to these different festivals.
Yes.
And we started this whole roller coaster journey of different festivals around the world for the next 2.5 years. And we were fortunate enough to win a bunch of awards in these festivals.
That's amazing.
Which continued to give the film weight, you know. And yeah, exactly. Yeah. So
now everyone wants to know before you get to that point, because now this is where everyone is burning on their seats right now. We want to know, I mean, a lot of producers definitely want to get their films on Netflix, and it is not easy. So right now, I want you now to get us to fast forward to that point where you started having a conversation with Netflix and they loved the movie and they definitely wanted to put it on their platform. So take us through that.
Yeah. So like I said, the big advantage of pushing the films into festivals, right, is that film festivals have film markets. Like this is where, I'm sure you guys already know that, like, where distributors come, right? And as you know, Netflix works with aggregators.
Yes.
Right? And so actually one of the aggregators was doing a workshop at Durban International Film Festival. Right? That's where we actually managed to meet with one of the aggregators.
Okay.
That's where we started knowing each other from that, because we were attending Durban Film Festival, right?
So it is important for filmmakers to attend film festivals.
Yes.
Number one.
Yes. To enter your film into a film festival, because it's a different conversation.
Yes.
With an aggregator or a distributor, to say, oh, I have this film called The Cup, which is at home under my pillow, than to say, oh, I have this film which is in Durban right now.
Exactly.
We just came from Rotterdam. We were at PAF. It's a different conversation, because it's almost like if someone will be like, oh, if the film was accepted in Rotterdam, oh, it must be something. If the film was in Seattle Film Festival, so festivals really give weight to a film. It makes the conversation easier when you're pitching something, to say, we were there, we were the best film at Seattle Film Festival, we were the best film at Cambria. So that gives an advantage to your pitch when you're pitching to an aggregator. You're not pitching blindly. You're not just saying, oh, I've got this film, can you watch it? Yeah.
Yes. Great.
Yeah.
So now that you met the aggregator there at Durban Film Festival.
Yeah. So obviously you have a conversation, and then you say, we're in this festival, and the advantage is that, like, if a film is in the festival, like, they're privy to just get into a screening, watch it, and then started a conversation where, like, send a screener, let's send us a screener, let's see. But they're already knowing the journey of the film, to say, oh, so this film started here, it's been there, is it marketable, can people watch it? If it's been accepted all over the world through all these festivals and all that, it becomes an easy conversation. So it's almost like giving your film value for it to be sellable, which was something that we did for like 2.5 years. Yeah.
Great. And So after now, take us through now after that conversation of now them looking at the value of your film and them saying that this is something that they definitely want to buy. Did they buy it now? Because we don't know there. You can tell us about that.
Yeah. So it's a license. It's like a 2-year license.
Okay.
Where the film is showing on Netflix, and they actually buy it. Mm-hmm. They buy a license. Mm-hmm. So they bought a license to show it for the next. So Cook-Off is going to be showing for the next 2 years.
Okay.
On Netflix, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Does it mean that you can be able to show Cook-Off in another platform, or the license ties you to basically have it on Netflix for those 2 years?
We obviously can't sell it to a Netflix competitor. Mm-hmm. By that I mean, like, we can't sell it to another VOD platform.
Okay.
Yeah, but obviously you can take it for TV, like for broadcast, because it's a different platform. Yeah, but for any other competitor, like it can be on Amazon Prime, for example.
Of course.
Yeah, it can be on Showmax. Yeah.
What are some of the boxes that you get to tick off? Because now we want to know, certain people, producers, directors here have their films. Now, what is it that they're looking for? Because now you have had that experience with them and you can be able to tell us on an African side of view. Because, sometimes our films are not as high budget, but we get to do amazing stuff.
So obviously I can't speak on behalf of them in terms of what they want, right? But I can probably use Cook-Off as a template in terms of how we pulled it off. So we shot Cook-Off on a Canon C300 camera. Wow. Yeah, we shot Cook-Off on a Canon C300. And I think that's like one of the least cameras that they accept in terms of gear. There's like deliverables that we were asked to deliver.
Like what are some of them?
And we like it has to have closed captions, not like subtitles that are imprinted on the image. So it has to be like closed captions. And for every music that you use, like music, you have to have the rights for each and every music or score that you used.
You're actually the one
crazy complicated.
I don't know how many other people here have movies
crazy complicated. Yeah.
So we assume, some of us assume that it's very complicated. So Joe, you're here to literally tell us the secret of getting in. So I think that's why everyone is like, so the music should be licensed, of course. What else?
Yeah. So it's basically, I think what I can say, we are as producers, right? There's certain things that, irregardless of Netflix or whatever platform, there's certain things that I've noticed as African filmmakers we don't really respect or care about. Like, someone can just put an American hip hop song and be like, "Oh, this will be my soundtrack. This will be my score for this."
Yeah.
Right?
So the music.
But if you're aiming, if we're aiming to go to those platforms that are like international, it's not going to work, because obviously it's going to be flagged, and you know what I mean. Yeah. So
the storyline, obviously, that won because that was amazing. And what was the process that it took? That whole negotiation. How long was it?
It took a couple of months before we got a response. Obviously, maybe I think 2 months. Then we got a response. We got an offer. It's up to us to accept the offer or decline, and then do contract, and then they give you a date to say it's going to start showing at this point. Yeah.
Okay, great. And the other questions here people are bringing in. So we've got, I can read one. So someone is asking, from Zimbabwe, from Zambia. So they're asking, they need to understand the leveraging versus actual contracts. How is that spelled out in promissory notes to the cast and crew?
The what? Sorry?
So they're talking about the crew. And now, like, okay, now let's say, for example, everyone had accepted to be able to come onto the film and they had said, okay, they'll be paid later. So how did that now work out now that the show is on Netflix? Do they get now something back from that?
Do they get back? So the contracts that we did with both cast and crew, right? Like I explained earlier, was we were working on a deferred payment system, right? But the deferred thing was, it wasn't a guarantee, and we had even stated within the contract that I did with the cast and crew to say that if we fail to sell the film, no one gets it, no one gets paid. But if we manage to sell the film, you're getting. So from the onset, we had already agreed on amounts with the cast and crew. Like everyone knew how much they're gonna get. Like to say, okay, you're gonna get X dollars if we sell the film. You're gonna get, depending on roles and who the cast member is and whatnot. So managing, like the managing to sell the film with Netflix like now is enable us to cover that. To like, okay, now guys, we've gotten a deal, we can get paid.
So that question was from Nasho Mapulanga. Okay, and then they were also asking, National was also asking about corporates. Did they also chip in? Did they also give you some money for funding for that?
So when we were doing cook-off in the beginning.
Yes, in the beginning.
So to be honest, like we only had one corporate that jumped on when we started doing which was like it's like a sauce. It's like a company that makes chili sauce. Company called Dr. Trouble, right? That's the only corporate that believed in us when we were starting this entire journey. And you know the irony, right? The irony is now we're on Netflix and everyone now wants to jump on because we're now on Netflix. So it's almost like a reverse thing where you're like, where were you guys when we were looking for funding and trying to make this film?
So are we going to be looking forward to Cook-Off 2?
People keep asking us about Cook-Off 2. I think that's something
the corporates are all saying, yeah, we want to fund you now.
I think I can say we can look forward to more films.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
It might be Cook-Off 2, it might be something else.
That's amazing. There's someone who's asking, Robin Malinga, he's from Uganda. He's asking, was the license regional based?
International.
International. So does Netflix buy regional or international?
It's showing all over. It's showing all over. It's showing all over the world. I don't know. I can't speak on behalf of Netflix on how they purchase them, but I'm just speaking on our on Cook-Off. Cook-Off is showing internationally all over the world. Yeah, it's an international deal. Yeah.
Okay, and someone is actually asking if you can write the email of the aggregator.
I think for some of that, like there's things I can't contractually I can't do that like on a platform like this. Okay. But obviously we can email each other and speak in private.
Yeah,
no problem with that.
She's on the group, so you can reach out. Now they're asking about.
Yes. I can give out my email address. It's fine.
Yeah. So someone is asking something very personal, and I don't know. Maybe you're free to answer yes or no. But in terms of the payment, did you actually get the full payment at once? Is it like a contract? Is it divided? In terms of the payments, just you can explain if you want to.
So I would love to, but there's things contractually
you cannot.
I can't say. Yeah. but like I said, like we're connecting now, and I believe like it would be nice for us to even keep on connecting, and these are conversations we can connect and talk about. Yeah.
So would you say that either way? I mean, you can say that, is it a good, you know what your contract is, yeah? So would you say that it's something that it's good for producers so that they can be able to do films that are really good and get to Netflix, because then at least they get a good payoff? Of course, you had said that you need to take your film out there and eventually it'll have more weight.
Yeah, it is definitely, yes. Yes. Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
So apart from that,
definitely.
From Tanzania, they're asking, what is the sound device used?
What is what?
The sound device used for the film.
Like how we recorded the sound?
Yes.
Okay. So how we recorded the sound? So we were recording the sound using lapels and an overhead boom, right? And we had like a mobile 6-channel mixer, like a Tascam 6-channel mixer. I don't know if that will help to explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So apart from that, now you've talked about the movie having weight. You've talked about taking your film to the festivals. What other tips can you give producers who are looking for ways to get into Netflix? You said it was not hard. We assumed it was hard, but it wasn't.
I can't say it's not. It wasn't hard. Like it's. We've already gone through the process. And one thing I liked about the journey is that we had the goal, right, to say let's do the best we can, right, with this film. And in that walk, doors open that you never anticipated, that or even never knew about, right? But all we knew is like let's keep pushing, let's keep going, let's see where this is going, right? Until we got boom. Now it's on Netflix, right? And I think as a producer, right, every film that we're making is like a baby. And everyone wants their baby to grow up to be the president or the best pilot in the world or whatever, right? That's how you're looking at your film as a baby, right?
Yes.
So for us, with Cook-Off, we were like, okay, this is our baby. Let's see how far we can take care of this baby to grow up to be the best it can be. So I think it's for us as Africans, right? The big advantage we have right now is that we're getting the attention we never had from the past. We're even getting big platforms like Netflix to say, we're investing this much in Africa. They're doing like Netflix originals. So I think the honors, to be honest, is on us. Because the way I look at it, right? If you look at like the rest of the world, Hollywood, Bollywood, all these guys, they've exhausted stories. They've exhausted their stories, right? And Africa is like an untapped, like unpolished diamond. We've got so many stories that are untold. So for us, I think the onus is, as producers, is to like find the best story, like, and there's so many of them. And the biggest thing is to sell Africa, because like the biggest mistake that a lot of people make is to try and make a Hollywood film in Africa. You know what I mean? Like they've seen that. They've done that even way, way better. Like you can't make an Avengers better than the Avengers that they already have. But they can never make an African story. No one can tell your story better than you, right? So that's the biggest advantage we have. So all we did was like, you know what? Let's tell a nice Zimbabwean story the best way we possibly can, right? With the resources that we had. And it's just about respecting the craft to say, okay, you know what? Let's push this as much as we can. And another element which I probably should mention is that, so when we finished Cook-Off, right? Like in Zim, the one thing that we knew was that, you know what? In terms of, because like we knew that it's not the best color grade we can get from this. It's not the best sound mix we can achieve, right, locally. So we managed to like, we knew that this film's journey is not yet done. and we managed to get like a co-producer on board, Zoe Flood. Like she's this girl called Zoe who came on board, and I could say took us to a different level where we collaborated with other production companies. Like we collaborated with Quite Bright Films in Kenya, from Kenya.
Oh, nice.
These guys did like the extra post-production for it. They did the color grade, right? And we collaborated with a sound company in London that did the final mix. And they were coming in with like selling the vision to say, guys, we're trying to make this film the best it can be. Can you jump on board? This is our vision. This is what we're trying to do. And these guys came on in believing what we were trying to do. And this happened before we even pitched the film to Netflix. This happened during our festival run thing, where we appreciate, you know what, okay, we tried to do as much as we could, but the sound can be better. The color grade can be better. It was us accepting to, you know what, this film can actually be pushed more. So how best can we do it? Let's get people that are more experienced than us. Let's get people that have more, that are well versed in that area. So that helped for us to get to that whole compact where we were satisfied. You know what? Okay, we've tried. This is the best we could do with what we had. Let's go. Yeah. So that brings in the collaboration element where a lot of people, like, you have to accept to say, okay, in as much as I might want the sound to be the best it can be in country, this is the best we could do, but it can be better in South Africa. It can be better in Kenya. It can be better elsewhere. That's why, like, I'm really happy we're having this platform of different producers, and I'm hoping we can connect. Like, we all have different skills. We all have different, we're good at very different things, right? But if we come together, we can make that one amazing blockbuster that people will be like, oh wow, did you see that film that just came out of Africa? Because it's about collaboration. It's about putting our different values and coming.
So you talked about equipment, and you talked about them. Just you didn't even have the best cameras at that time, but of course they looked at the quality. And someone is asking a question on the text box, because they're asking about does Netflix request for specific camera and audio equipment to be used during production? So
so that's something that's even, I think it's even on their website.
It's on the website. You can check that.
It's on the website where they actually name different types of cameras that they accept. So that's like even on, you can actually look it up and see it on their website.
So I think I love the whole journey because it's a passion. It was a passion project. It was something that a lot of people collaborated, and eventually it birthed into this amazing baby, and to more to come. Now I'm going to open it up, so just anyone has a question they can be able to ask. We just have to do our best. Eventually, it'll be short. Yes, because, the question is right now, I'm sure a lot of people are going to ask is that, they thought that there's like a pool of funding, and you could give them the direction to that pool of Netflix funding where they can be able to go and maybe even get their film commissioned. Is there something like that?
Like I said, like, that's obviously something I can't speak on behalf of Netflix.
Yes. Not that you are you are in it a little bit,
Yes. But because for us, this was like an acquisition. This Cook-Off is not a commissioned project. We made it first, then sold it to Netflix.
So are they looking for producers to commission and tell African stories? And if they are, do you happen to know if they are? Do you happen to? I know you've been so safe. Just okay, yes, no, okay, maybe you can look that direction.
I'm trying by all means to not like speak on their behalf. I'm trying to keep it within the Cook-Off bracket.
So I think I'll ask you guys to unmute and ask any questions. You're free to go.
But like I said, like this will be like this. We're meeting here on this platform, and I'm hoping like we can start to engage privately and talk.
So they should give you a side chat, a DM. Okay, so if you have any questions, you're free to unmute and ask.
Hi, Christine.
Hi.
I shall go first. Hi, Joe. Nasho here from Zambia.
Hi, man. How are you?
Okay, very good. Thanks. Just neighbors here.
Yeah. I'm actually always in Zambia. I come to Zambia a lot.
Brilliant. It would be great to meet. Yeah. So just two questions that I had, and sorry, Christine. The other one is just
welcome.
Yeah. The first question is basically the one she had asked, but there's a part that I needed you to answer. This is in regards to additional payments, because then what you mentioned, and by the way, starters, very well, good production. I looked at the trailer.
Thank you, Nasho.
It was also good to see Jesesi in there, the Neria lady.
Yes.
So my question to that is, you said you met the production and then it was later sold to Netflix. So Netflix wasn't in mind at the beginning.
Yeah. We just wanted to make the best film we could make.
Brilliant. And coming from a producer's point, in my case, is to just try and understand how you tackled the payment, because then if the cast are being they're being given promissory notes to say, look, you're going to get paid once we actually sell. How was it drawn in the contracts? Because that's becomes the critical issue. If all of a sudden, yes, this film has made it to Netflix, obviously the negotiations become slightly different to what it is that you had promised. If I'm promised to say, look, we're getting X amount, and then all of a sudden I see Netflix, how did that work? That's the question. I don't know whether you want to answer that before I go to my second question, or I just need to be clear on that.
So I can answer that. So, like I said, originally we had contract with everybody, cast and crew, right, with figures attached to that, right, to say, okay, this is Jesesi Mungoshi, this is the acting fee that we're putting on paper. We don't have it. We might never have it if the film doesn't sell, and it's clear in the contract. But if we manage to sell the film, we're gonna like let's say, for example, let's say we did not sell the film to Netflix. Let's say we sold it to another channel, and the money is not even enough maybe to pay the cast and the crew, right? Obviously, it could be like saying, okay, we've got to pay this little payment from this little broadcaster, and we can only manage to pay you a third of this because we've made a sale, right? For example. So this contractually, right? It's enabling us to pay the cast and the crew, right? And it's we're able to cover their fee as we agreed, right? On the contract, and from our end, right? Obviously, the film life never ends. We keep selling, we keep going, and this is like almost like up to us above the line as producers to say, okay, even if we had agreed for these fees, and if we keep selling, contractually we're not bound to say, oh, I'm supposed to pay you more of X amount. Now I'm giving you Y because we're getting this amount, but it's something that we are, as a production company, as producers of the film, we will consider to say, okay, as much as the film is going, because for us, we're trying to build an industry and we're trying to create an industry that we can sustain, to say, okay, in as much if we can manage to do one film and get money to make another film. So for us, it's about sustainability, to say, can I employ the same actors again or different ones, to say, and be able to pay them and not go on another deferred payment system, so that we can transition from that community I was talking about to becoming an industry.
I think we'll probably catch up on this, because I think there's still a little bit of gray areas as to the level of where you would go, especially royalties pertaining. So there's the second question, Christine, just one last one.
Yes.
You mentioned that there was additional support technically from outside Zim. I wanted to know, because then the level of the quality and also perhaps why the support would have come on board was because of all of these additional technical support that came in from outside Zim. So just tell me percentage-wise, how much was involved from Zim and how much came from outside?
Percentage-wise,
would it be like, say for instance, 40%, 60% Zim and 40% in terms of to make it work, in terms of, all of those cues that made it a good movie came from outside? I just wanted to understand.
I could say 95% Zim, 5% outside.
Sorry?
95% Zim, 5% outside.
5% outside, okay.
Yeah.
Joe, you mentioned something interesting. You first gave us just an introduction for us to understand the film industry in Zim, and I really appreciated that because I've always wanted to know the background. You really unpacked it beautifully, and so I just wanted to ask, when you got the deal with Netflix, and obviously there are certain rates, standard rates that prevail in the industry in Zim now, in terms of paying crew and paying the cast. And I know that when you mention Netflix, suddenly people are thinking, hey, we're gonna get paid lots of money, So I just wanted to just have a sense of what is your take in what you've been able to pay. Where would you rate the production? Would you say, I don't know what I'm trying to ask you, but I'm just trying to have a sense of where you've been able, to make it as far as the different expectations. As far as that, would you say you are a very high paying show, or or maybe you just like yeah. I'm actually losing my own question. Okay, so then that's the first one. That's the first one, Joe. And if Christine allows me, I'd just like to also ask me another question. My second question, Joe, I assume that you're acting in English, the language you're speaking.
Yes.
And in Africa, sometimes we are trapped in the issue of acting in the vernacular and then subtitle in English. For example, in the area where I come from, the province where Nelson Mandela was born, we speak isiXhosa, and even when you're watching Generations, in the South African TV, you can see sometimes people are acting in isiXhosa and they put the subtitles there. From your engagement with Netflix, what is the issue with that? Because I know that sometimes in Africa we can have problems of accents. Like sometimes when some people, some of our brothers and sisters in Nigeria speak, are better to hear, And what was your approach around that issue? And you mentioned the issue of subtitles. What role then do they play around the question I'm asking? So that will be those for the first round. I hope there's another round. Thanks, Christine.
Okay. In terms of payment, like the first question you asked, like I said, in Zimbabwe, it's very different from South Africa, right? Like I actually work in South Africa a lot. I freelance in Cape Town a lot. And we don't have an industry in Zim, right? We don't even have like guilds and all that stuff, right? It's stuff we're trying to set up. Like I explained with my own personal journey, like why I came back home and said, you know what, I'm here and I'm going to try and set up and build an industry. These are things that are still in the process of establishing and getting. Like there are no set rates for even cast, for cinematographers, for all that. Like there's no set rates, right? And for us, I could say it was pretty much trying to base it on maybe close, I could say, to South Africa, right? Where even in the deferred contracts, it's something that we were just basing it close to SA, right? Saying, okay, this would be fair, right? If we get money, so it's almost like if we had a budget to begin with, you would have been paid this much, right? Fairly. But we don't. Yeah. But we're still going to put it down as a contract to say, okay, we know you're worth this much. If we get it, we pay you. So, and now we're in a position where we're fortunate to say, okay, we've made this deal and we're able to pay for that.
And what about the subtitles, Joe?
So for the subtitles, like I explained with the whole closed caption thing, right? The closed caption allows you to either switch on or switch off. Like if you switch on, like I'm sure all you guys know how it works on Netflix, where you can switch on subtitles throughout the entire film, right? So even like you mentioned to say you could be watching a Nigerian film and you won't even really be understanding what they're saying. There's captions, there's subtitles that are throughout the entire film. Whether someone is already speaking in English, it's already subtitled. So whether you can understand them saying it, you can still read it. Okay. So I think that's why they demand that. Maybe as a way of appreciating how people speak differently with different accents around the world.
I can ask Namzi has their hand up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Aubrey. Namzi, you have your hand up. Do you have a question?
Hey.
Thanks, Joe.
Yes,
not really a question. Not really a question.
Okay.
Am I clear?
Yes, you're clear.
Yes, you are, Namzi.
Okay. Yeah, it's not really a question. I think it's more of contributions. I know Joe has been bombarded with so many questions about so many things, but then first of all, I'd like to say kudos and good work, you guys. I just jumped onto this call and I didn't have much of the background, but then from what I'm hearing from the call, I've been on for the last 30, 40 minutes. Joe, you've done a great job and congratulations.
Thank you, Namzi.
And thank you so much. And I believe from the time I joined the call, you were talking about stories being exhausted. And right now, Africa is in a spot where we have to be very strategic as team members to pull this off together. And
yes,
we have so many stories to tell, like millions to tell.
Yes.
And I'm one person who has watched Hollywood from 1925, from Walt Disney and everything, from the next Technicolor movie, the first Technicolor movie in 1949, the Wizard of Oz. I've watched all the stories, and it was to a point where you're like, okay, I've seen this one before.
Yeah.
So we're in a position where Africa has a point to tell stories. And in our good luck and in our achievements, I think it has to come to a point where we have to really be together and tell the stories we want to tell. That's why I'm saying congratulations to you. And
thank you.
I think what we need to do moving forward is the same way you're sharing your story right now about how you manage to manage your contracts and everything is something I can actually tell a story from the Zambian point of view. I've been in the industry for 20 years from Kabanana, which is Zimbabwe.
Oh, nice. We love Kabanana in Zimbabwe. It was
I was one of the actresses. That's how I came into the industry from my passion as a child. I came as an actress, then I had more interest in getting to know the industry. I worked on award-winning series like the Love Games, which came later. And then I'm Not a Witch, which won a BAFTA. And
I've watched I'm Not a Witch. I've actually worked with Henry BJ Piri.
Yeah, Henry BJ is my guy. Well,
he came here when we did the film here in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, he's brilliant. I mean, he's one of those actors
amazing.
I know I call. If I want a method actor, I'll call BJ.
He's amazing,
bro. If you want comedy brought out to life, that's Henry. And from I'm Not a Witch, I was actually the police officer in I'm Not a Witch.
Oh, wow, nice. I'll watch it again and look out for you.
And look out, exactly.
So what I'm trying to say really is not asking you questions, but I think everybody on this platform has a lot of enthusiasm from what has happened, from what your project has done.
Yeah.
But I think moving forward, we need to start building a spirit of togetherness.
Amen.
And we might be the new frontiers of Pan-Africanism. I mean, I'm actually a scientist from school. Like from my all academic years, I'm purely a scientist. Biology, physics, and everything. That's what I was trained to do. But then my passion was film because I believed we can tell stories, and from our stories, we can achieve more. That's how I shifted into the film industry to get more creative. I came in through acting, once I was in the system, I started learning more on what the industry is about and everything. And now the last project I worked on is actually Zula season 3. Was Amazing Magic. Yeah. So
Great.
every day is a learning curve. Like every day is a learning
we
curve.
learn from each other.
I believe our stories are what will actually liberate us, because I'm also a lot in political science and stuff from the education I was built up on.
Thank you so much, Nabzi. I think we can now also give someone else an opportunity to ask a question, because I think the time is about to be up.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Nabzi. Thank you.
Thank you, Nabzi.
Okay. All right.
Deuce, hand is up.
Yes.
You can go.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear.
Hey, Joe, that was a great job, guys, you did right there.
Thank you, Deuce.
I just watched the film. It's really good. It's really good.
Thank you, Deuce.
I have this question. I'm from Rwanda, and as you say, it's same as there you are in Zim, because the film industry is still growing here. But here we can call it industry because it's already approved. And but here, the question I have is that it's not easy to find the investors to invest in your film right here. And when it comes to like when you should be having like a promise, like using or regarding to how you did and cook off, if there is a way, someone you can add in a pitch or request to the investors that there is a way, there is a possibility that film can make it on Netflix. Because when you say that, like many people can understand, and then can be able to invest in your film. Because here, most of the investors, they need numbers. They need you to know like how is it going.
Yeah,
so
like I said, the funny thing, right? So now we're getting the film onto our local national broadcaster, so that because obviously Netflix is elite. Not everyone is Netflix here in Zim. So we were like, you know what? We need everyone. We need the local market to see the film as well. So we engaged like the local broadcaster, and then we're getting like advertisers, sponsors to come on board, and the response has been crazy. Wow. Like people just jumping in to say, okay, we'll put in money for advertising for this, because like it's coming from that element where it's now on Netflix, so they believe the hype that's coming from the outside. But we've been here since 2017.
Yeah.
But it's stuff you can use to your advantage, and you can't blame them if they are if that's what it takes for them to believe. Then let's use that.
But I think that's what happens in most countries, especially our African countries. The same thing, you need numbers, you need already to put in the work and collaborate and have the promise notes. And once that is done, then now when someone picks you up, everyone is coming running and saying they want you.
Exactly.
Yeah, so that's really what happens. I think what I've taken away from this is that it's a very good time for us to all collaborate, work together, come up with amazing films. Because at the end of the day, from what you've said, you have to come up with something that is amazing for it to fly, basically. So there's no secret to that success. It's all about hard work, putting together the work and collaborating. And that's how you will get your projects to get out there. I think you can wrap it up for us, Mr. Joe.
Just one quick question. Sorry.
Hi, Jessie.
Joe,
hi, Jessie.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Yeah, just really quick. Thanks so much for sharing your knowledge. I just wanted to find out, as a producer, I know there's a lot of paperwork that you go through, which is like one of the, also aside from being creative, the business side. Like, can you just share, like, how does your pitch deck look like? Like, what are some of the things that make it look attractive, get the distributors to, because I think that's what most of us, we lack. We have this more creative, but there's also the business side, which you, the producer, maybe if you just tell me a little bit on how that works out for you.
Sorry, Christine, just before Joe responds, I've got something relating to what the lady has just asked.
Yes.
Because I was interested to know when they were doing that film festival, journey for those 2 years, that experience, how did it contribute to strengthen their presentation to Netflix? Does he feel that it helped in any way as part of the pitching, which is what the lady was saying? And it's quite scary now, Joe, to think that COVID-19 is just like locking us down. We can't even do that hopping you are doing around for the 2 years now.
Yeah.
But a lot to worry about, because this coronavirus out there.
Yeah, everything is different.
Okay. So one thing for me personally as a producer, like before jumping onto a project, right, I always like to start with the end in mind, right? Where when I say end in mind, it's like for Cook-Off, like I said from the beginning, it's not like we were like, oh, we're gonna get this film on Netflix. No, but we were like, for Zimbabwe, this will be the first example of the collaborative process we've always been preaching about, of different filmmakers coming together on a project and seeing how best we can push this, right? And for us, we were clear from the get-go to say, you know what, Zimbabwe is not even on the film map. Like no one even talks about Zimbabwe and puts film in the same sentence, right? It's not known. Yeah. So for us, Cook-Off has to be that baby that changes that. That from the get-go, before we even started rolling the camera, we were clear. Me and Thomas, we were clear about that. Like, dude, let's push this. Let's try all we can. So in that journey, right, like I said, when you start walking, there's so our local language is called Shona here in Zimbabwe, right? There's a saying that goes, Chicha chirimurutsoka, meaning if you start a journey, that's when you discover new things, right? So us exploring this journey, there's things we never knew about or anticipated about. And in this whole festival journey, right, you meet different people, right? Like if we had not embarked on the whole festival run, we would have never met the aggregator in Durban, right? You get what I mean? So there's certain things that are not up to you in terms of planning. Like I'm not gonna lie and say, oh, we planned, oh, we're gonna get to Durban and then we're gonna meet the aggregator and then we're gonna end up on Netflix. Yeah. But our journey made it possible for us to open doors that we never knew about. It's like now, like the whole world, it's so amazing. Like the messages we are getting from all over the world from people that are watching the film, right? Like for me, my favorite, like for me, the one satisfying thing was like one message I saw. This person inboxed me on Twitter. This American guy. He's like, oh my God, I can't believe that people in Zimbabwe know salmon. People in Zimbabwe can smile. People in Zimbabwe. So at first I was offended, right, by it. We're like, what is he talking about?
I can understand.
Yeah. But then I really thought about it, and then I responded to him, right? And he said to me, the Africa we know about is the Africa we see on CNN and BBC. Sure. And all we see is people being suppressed. So he's like, in my head, Zimbabwe is about people and a dictator who's holding guns to their head, like who are hungry, who are starving, who are about to die. And it made me be like, oh wow, so job well done. If he has seen that, it's a different. He's like, thank you. He even said he's coming. He wants, if the lockdown, everything, all this eases. He's like, I want to come to Zimbabwe and see Zimbabwe, right? But so that's like the power we have, like all of us here as producers. We need to change the African narrative. We have a big job to change that African narrative, and it's something that we don't notice. Yeah, like I was watching this on DSTV where they were showing different countries like France, then they show the Eiffel Tower and cars. New York, they show the Empire State, whatever, right? And then they come to Africa and then they show mountains and giraffes and elephants running. That's bad. That's like I'm telling you, for someone who's somewhere in the world, right? Like that's the picture they know about Africa. Like I remember when I was in Boston, right, in America, and then this one guy says to me, "How does it feel?" So I'm like, "What do you mean?" It's like, how does it
Sleep
feel
on the tree.
to wear shoes, right? So I'm like, what? It's like, yeah, how does it mean? How do you feel to wear shoes? Do you guys wear shoes in Africa? Do you guys wear clothes in Africa?
Oh gosh,
And
yeah, we definitely need to create more
get
films.
offended, but then you understand, okay, that's it's not their fault. It's the image that's painted of Africa, where they see the Maasai people with a spear and animal skin running in the bush, in the jungle, right? But it's up to us to start shifting that image and change it. To say, like, this one guy could not believe that I could drive. You know, like, it's like, you can drive? You have cars in Africa? Right? But the fault is on us as filmmakers. I'm telling you, we need to change that. We need to start shifting that image and change the whole the entire message.
Yeah.
We have the way I see it, we have a big mammoth task to do. In the, like, let's be careful in whatever story we're telling as producers. Like, what message are we putting out to the world? Yeah.
So,
sorry, if I can, I know
Noted, Joe. Thank you.
To speak.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to?
Yes, you're allowed to speak.
My host.
You're welcome.
So the same story he's telling is there's a film we shot last year called Black Dollar in Zambia, and it's still a work in progress, out to get out there. And the same thing is like the producer, producer and director is from Zambia. He left Zambia at about 3 years old. And when he came back, he was actually forced to come back home because he was thinking Africa is this place where people can't drive. There's just giraffes and there's monkeys all over the place. This is a Zambia.
No, we sleep on trees. No, we sleep on trees. And that one, we sleep on trees.
He's a local person. And when he came in, the first thing he sees is road construction, shopping malls, cinemas, and everything. He's like, excuse me, this is in Africa? And we're like, yeah. And his first instinct was, can we tell stories about Africa that the world does not know? Every time I see my home, it's monkeys, giraffes, mountains, no roads, no nothing. And I am shocked to come back home. And he came back home at 30 years old to find a developed Africa. And he was up to now, he's still shocked. And that's the same thing, Joe, you're saying. The image out there about Africa is so wrong.
It's bad.
Yeah.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
And I was actually very humbled to work with him. And I'll share some links with you guys on our groups and everything.
Please do.
From what they're trying to do. We shot this film last year. We shot it last year, and he was just trying to tell a simple story of a few con men trying to pull off a con. But while he was shooting that film, he said, I want the world to see the Africa they have not seen. And that's his passion now. And that is very true, guys. I think the mirror image we have of Africa is terrible.
Thank you very much for your contributions, Joe, and definitely Ndabula, thank you for inviting me. And what you were saying about Africa, it's so true, because as an African living abroad, I live in the DC area, the things that we hear, and even for us, some of us who've been out, I've been out of the continent for more than 20 years. So I came here when I was fairly young. You know, we want to learn more about home and all parts of home. I was born in Cameroon personally, so French speaker, and it's very different regionally. So the thing that I wanted to touch upon is when, Joe, you talked about collaboration, and you're big on collaboration, which I really appreciate, because I think that's the way forward.
Yes,
but
that's the biggest thing that I drive on. Yeah. Yes,
there's also definitely something else to consider. Not from what I see and hear, this is more like Southern and Eastern Africa, but perhaps expanding also onto regional collaboration, but also continental collaboration. You know, because there are great talents in Francophone Africa, you know, Lusophone Africa, but it's just a matter of connection. Again, because of the colonial languages, there are some barriers there, but if somehow you all are able to break those barriers, I think that the sky is the limit. So congratulations for starting. This is great.
Yes.
So, Joe, I would like to say thank you for being here. you are bent on collaboration like myself, but then have you really noticed the problem with collaboration? Maybe you, because you're not a director, so it wasn't that hard, but I kind of feel a lot of us are directors and they are producers. You get the point. So if they want to produce something, to collaborate, now it becomes who directs. They can take 2 years just to decide who is going to direct. And at the end of the day, it never comes on. So it's like what I feel is Africa, as we are here today, is like we always want to do something, but nobody want to take an initiative to say, let me step down for this guy to do it. Next time I do it. We all want to do the same thing the same time. And we all want to be like, our names to be like, I did that. But then at the end of the day, as we are talking here, they are saying we are sitting on trees, we have giraffes and all that, but they're not saying one person. No, it's not about one person. It's all of Africa.
Yes.
Maybe, I don't know, they don't say Ghana or they say so in Zimbabwe, they say Africa. So like we are here, I'm happy we are all here and we are all listening to what they think. I think we have amazing stories.
Yes.
We just need to create a system whereby we can even help ourselves to edit our stories, help ourselves to edit, like you said, I'm trying, or like Joe, like you did. You know what happens, Joe? After your movie, you realize there are people who can do better than you do in sound. There are people who can do better color grading. Why don't we take people out there to learn and give them a studio in Africa and say, guys, this is Africa, let's do this.
Good.
But at the end of the day, everybody wants to be on their own. But thank you very much, Joe. My question is, if you have a chance, what would you change about Cook Off?
Christine, sorry.
I said if Joe, you have a chance, every producer, after every work, you feel like there's something you could have done better than before. With Cook Off, what do you think you could have changed about it if you have the chance now? Is there anything you want to change about it, or you feel you did your best?
I think as a filmmaker, like you would know, every time there's no one here who would be like, oh, I've like when you watch your film at the end, you're like, this is perfect. That's not true. Like you're always watching. Like I cringe every time I watch a film I made, you know. And like I was listening in from the beginning where you were like saying as a producer, because I'm not a director. So I'm actually a director writer as well.
That's
and the producer. I've actually directed more than I've produced.
Wow. So did you have that argument of
so what made you step back? So what made you step back to let him direct and then you produce?
So like I remember when you started, you were like, there'll be difficulties of people deciding who's gonna direct, who's gonna what, right? With projects, right? We're not privileged we're not privileged like Hollywood studio systems where a producer takes a script to a studio. They'd be like, oh, who's the best person for this? Let's get Martin Scorsese. Like, we're not like that, right? And that's one thing I feel for us as producers in Africa, we need to accept our own model of filmmaking. Like, we don't have studios. We don't have studios that give budgets to make productions, right? We pretty much, like when you say what made me, right? If you listen from the beginning, I was actually invited by the director, who happens to be the writer of Cook Off, to produce the film, because he felt I could produce it. It was vice versa. So Tom was the one who invited me to be part of the project. So the writer is the director of the project, and for me, as part of why I agreed to jump on board was obviously believing in the vision of the film and the director to say and be like, he can see this through vision-wise, and I can produce this to make sure it comes out the best it can be within the means and resources that we have. So in as much as we can understand like the models, like I always argue with film schools, especially in Africa, and how we're taught in film school, in like textbook filmmaking. Get a producer gets the script, sells it to a studio, you start finding a director and whatnot. I feel like we need our own model, because that doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't work.
True, Joe.
In Africa, we don't have studios, we don't have Universal, we don't have Warner Brothers, right? Like we need our own way of filmmaking. That's where we find ourselves wearing different caps, different hats.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
In the production process, because we have our own way of making. We don't have budgets, like I'm saying. So leveraging, because like I keep saying, I keep correcting people in the narrative of Cook Off to say Cook Off did not cost $8,000. $8,000 was the cash budget we had, right? And we leveraged a lot of things that we slashed off a big budget to be right. I feel like Nollywood managed to crack their own model. Like they're doing it. Like they've managed to push and sell Nollywood to the entire world, right? And appreciating their own way of doing it, right? They churn out so many different films, right? But that's the model that they've realized. You know what? Let's play around with our numbers. Nollywood has numbers. Nollywood, imagine if you release a film and 1 million people buy it for $1, that's $1 million, and that's a model that will work. So we have to find our own model to see how best can we crack and say, okay, this is our model as African filmmakers, and yes, we can learn from Hollywood, but we're not Hollywood, and we can never be Hollywood.
We can never, that's so true.
Sure.
As you said, we
Joe.
each are doing almost like 5 different things in a film.
Yeah.
Personally, I think I direct, produce, sometimes executive direct, makeup, styling, art directing. You find yourself running all over the place.
Yeah, we make it work.
It's very tiresome. By the end of the film, you need like a 2-week break just to recover from your up and down, you know? So that's
and
something
Christine, from what Joe is saying about us in Africa wearing many hats, I used to feel there's something wrong, but I found comfort to see that Tyler Perry does basically the same thing.
Yeah.
You know, he's producing, he's written the thing, he directs it, and then he's Madea, and also while he's Madea, he's also Madea's nephew in the same movie, and it works, you know.
And Medea's child in the same movie.
There you go.
I think that's one thing that we're
funny
really
thing.
blessed as African producers and directors and all the hats that we wear. And as you said, there's no madness. It's like a controlled madness to it, you know?
Yeah.
So we know how to get by on that. But now, anyone else who has a question before Joe gives us the 10 top things that you should do as an African producer to get into Netflix?
I like that.
We do have a quick one.
Putting you on the spot.
I do have a quick one, Christine.
Yes.
I do have a quick question.
And there's also
Joe mentioned something. You know, that initially the corporates didn't really show interest right up until they secured this deal with Netflix. So he said, Dr. Trouble, the chili sauce guys were the
Trouble,
ones where
we're always praising them because they believed in us. Dr. Trouble.
Go. So then I was interested, you know, to know, after then you had this popularity now, you know, after the Netflix deal, how are you dealing with that issue of now people having an interest, and how is that actually helping your production? You know, how are you managing that now, the interest now that people have, and what has really been the engagement out of that? You know, it has translated into what?
So for one, it is translated, like I explained, about us trying to bring appreciating the fact that, okay, Netflix is elitist. People, not everyone in Zimbabwe is Netflix, because we keep getting like people saying, oh, yeah, it's on Netflix, but how are you going to see it like locally, right? And we have our own local broadcaster, ZBC, Zimbabwe Broadcasting Corporation. And we wanted to put it on the broadcaster, but not for free, obviously, right?
Yeah.
As a producer, right? And realizing the opportunity that we can get people like advertisers, sponsorship to say X whatever company proudly presents Cook-Off on that station and sort of like footing the bill for it. So being on Netflix has made the conversation so easy to get people to jump on and put money to say, oh, yeah, cool. I'll pay for 2 minutes airtime on it. I'll pay for 5 minutes airtime on this, right?
Makes sense.
Because we're leveraging the popularity of Netflix. It's like everyone wants to be associated with the popular girl. So Cook-Off is sort of like the popular girl.
Yeah.
In the country.
Okay.
So,
Makes sense, Joe.
So, but one thing we've managed to sort of like leverage is, in a way, not blaming the corporates, because in Africa they're not really sort of like well versed in product placement. Like they don't know about how they can benefit from films. So so in as much as we could say, oh, they're not supporting, they don't know how. Like what do they get out of it? So this has been a chance for us to educate them, to say, when you see James Bond in Skyfall opening a Heineken and drinking it, Heineken have paid a lot of money to get Daniel Craig to open that bottle of Heineken.
Exactly.
So they now sort of like get it, to say, okay, if we put your product and get our star and get Jesese Mungoshi in area to open whatever packet of peanut butter or if your brand and say, I'm putting this on my bread, people are gonna start buying your peanut butter because they're associating it with a star using it or eating it. So it's been a, sort of like a win-win situation where they're like, oh, now we get it. Now we get how we can benefit from this, right? So, and almost like a futuristic deal where they're like, next project we want in, because they get it now. Like they're like, oh, okay, we see how we can benefit. If we support you, you can actually push us to get people, because people like stars, right? Like movie stars, sell stuff. So they're getting it now. So it's been a process where, at least now we're in a position where corporates get it. Like they're like, okay, we can't wait for the next thing. What other thing are you working on? How can we jump on? So it's a different conversation.
It's wonderful.
That's amazing.
It's wonderful.
I would love to be in your production company right now. At least we know we're
come
not going
through.
to
Come to Zimbabwe.
Deboho has a question. Please, you're welcome to ask. And also Carol. Carol also has a question.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Christine. Can you hear me there?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Excellent. Before my question, I just wanted to commend and thank you, as well as Joe, for this platform. I think it's the beginning of a collaboration between African producers and so on. I mean, I see guys like Eric Mukhalu, who's one of the top 5 directors in South Africa, sharing his email in the chat as well, which I'm very excited about. So thank you so much for creating this platform. Mine is a very easy question. As a new guy in the film industry, I just wanted to know, with Netflix, when it comes to pricing, do they come in and say, okay, as Africans, you guys deserve, getting this little small bit for your film? Or are you free to negotiate like the internationals for something that is truly worth what you are giving? Thank you.
Good question.
I think in that light of staying safe in Africa,
I knew it was coming.
I knew it.
What Teboho was asking, I knew it was coming.
I just want to know how much he got so that tomorrow I'll be able to take mine.
We're not discussing price.
What I can say is,
the contract.
What I can say is there is room to negotiate. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
But do they give us different pricing because it's from Africa?
Yes.
No. Okay, there's one question, Joe. Before you talk, answer this one to his. Do they look at the budget you use for your movie to determine how much they're going to give you, or just open?
How best to
Here it comes again.
I hope you guys understand.
You do understand, Joe. Understand.
So you submit and then they offer, and it's not like dictatorship. Like they offer, like, and then you respond.
No.
Like I said, there's room to negotiate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
They will make you an offer. Yeah.
Oh, thank you so much. I think I'm satisfied.
Okay, but I didn't hear you. I was asking, are they looking at the back, like for you, for instance, what's $8,000, right? Are they looking at, okay, Joe used 8,000, it's no money, so we give him 12,000. Is that what they were doing, or is it just something they go like, we want your movie, how much are you selling it? Did they ask you a question like that?
The 8,000 narrative only started to surface after Netflix. Like, in your negotiation, there's nothing about your budget.
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay.
Okay.
The 8,000 budget narrative only came on the publication after the Netflix deal. And like I explained earlier, I don't know if you're on the call, like 8,000, the film did not cost 8,000.
No.
8,000 was the cash, like hard cash we had in hands to pull it off.
You have in hand.
Yeah.
Okay.
But some of the stuff on the budget was leveraged through relationships and collaborations, like gear, like you could say, like I think like the gear budget was over 30 grand, like you get what I mean. But the 8,000 is being mentioned as the cash in hand, which I had to start the production. But then we leveraged a lot of things through collaboration and relationships. That money that made it possible for me to cancel out a lot of stuff on the budget. Yeah.
Carol, shoot.
Oh, me? Yeah. Can you guys hear me?
We hear you.
Okay.
Yes, Carol.
Okay. Hi, everyone. This is awesome. I love what's happening here. I joined a bit late, so I don't know if you guys talked about this, but I had a question about distribution. If do you have to sign an exclusivity contract with Netflix when your movie they decided to take your movie? Are you free to air it anywhere else, as you mentioned, on your local TV stations and stuff like that? Or the contracts? Do the contracts depend on the person who is negotiating, or is it a standard contract for everyone?
Like I keep saying, I can't speak on behalf of Netflix and how they do deals, but I'll speak on the knowledge of on our cook-off deal, where obviously there are different deals, I'm sure, in terms of exclusivity. And it's not like a dictatorship contract where they're like, this is going to happen. There's options, like they'll offer options to say, for this, it's going to be like this, for this, it's going to be like this. And it's like exclusive Africa, exclusive the whole world, like it's different options that it's up to you to take, to say, okay, I'll go for this one, I'll go for this one. Yeah, there's options. There's so many different options that they offer. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I think now we are on the hot seat. Back to Joe. Joe is going to give us the top 10. Joe, where are you? Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
I thought you had disappeared on that one. So, Joe, you can just give us your parting words. At least now we've understood we cannot talk a lot about the money part, but you've given us at least some clarity.
I've tried.
This much clarity, which is good.
I've tried as much not to get myself into trouble.
Into trouble, yes. Actually, yeah. We don't want you to get into trouble, but thank you for even sharing, because it's good to see that Netflix is buying our film. They're buying our films now.
And I feel it's something that we need to take advantage of. Like grab the opportunity of a lifetime in the lifetime of the opportunity, right? So
I guess
if they're giving us an eye, if they're giving us an opportunity, we sort of need to grab it, you know. Like we said, like our stories are so unique, right? And we have that advantage, like of giving them these unique stories, right? And in as much as we might not have these crazy big budgets to make these films, we use what we have. We use what we got, you know. Like I always like to. If you look at how Hollywood makes films and their big production design departments, it's stuff that we already have in Africa for free. That they will spend millions and millions of trying to recreate, but we have this like in our backyard, and so it's just up to us to like take advantage of that. And I don't know how much I can stress this much: collaboration.
Collaborate.
Like you guys have no idea.
Sure.
You have no idea how happy I am on this platform, like to see all of you guys, and like we're the film family, and the onus is on us to take this up. For me to like be like, oh, Aubrey, Teboko, Debedile, like let's come together, let's create something, because we're Africans, we're one, and in as much as our stories can be unique, like what stops us from telling a story about a guy who's coming from Kenya to try and find his family in Zimbabwe, and then he ends up discovering they're in South Africa. You know,
okay, I'm writing it.
I think we can start on that one. I don't know who's going
that's
to
something
direct.
that we have.
We can,
but that's something that we can take advantage of as Africans. And one thing we need to figure out, like which is something that I keep trying to tell filmmakers, even back here in Zimbabwe, that it's not a competition. It's art. You don't compete in art.
Yeah.
You compete with yourself because you're trying to make yourself better. I'm not competing with Aubrey. Like Aubrey is his own person, is his own style. Like I can never be like Aubrey, right?
Yes,
so
giraffe.
that's something. I think we're giraffe Aubrey because I'm very tall as well. So that's something I feel like us as Africans, unity. And I hope something comes out of this conversation, not just about talk distribution and cook-off, but let's come up with something. Let's see how further we can take this and taking advantage. Like, fine, we're in Netflix. That's a foot in the door. Let's take advantage of it, right? It's a different conversation now. If we're bringing the next production to say, oh, here's the next production. Oh yeah, Joe, we know you. You have this. But we're bringing in something from Aubrey, something from Juice, something from
I was
Eric.
just going to say that. That's very powerful. Yeah.
We
could use each other and
take advantage of us. Exactly. That's why I was like, let's connect privately. Let's keep talking. Let's see what can come out of this.
Everyone should be open to connecting with each other. There's so much that we can be able to do and just learn from each other. So it's so good to know someone from South Africa, someone who's in America right now, someone who's in Kenya. We've never connected on another platform, but here we are connecting. So we can really do a lot in as in Africa, just from the connections that we have. You know, we've been looking for funding and all that. But I think if we all come up together and see how can we be able to do the editing, the makeup, the hair, the directing, we could just find that we will start with our $8,000 and end up actually having an amazing film.
Interesting. Sorry, Christine, I just want to just drop something. Well, firstly, I want to congratulate you for hosting this wonderful engagement.
Thank you.
And secondly, for really looking good for it.
She's always looking good.
The other thing, Christine, also, I mean, we just all feel given an opportunity to participate. You really handled it very well. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
And then I want to say that it's quite interesting, you know, that we are really having this conversation because, I mean, apart from the fact that I've just started working in Lesotho, but now it seems as if this thing now of traveling to other countries is becoming my career because there's a documentary that we've been funded for, and the person that is a subject of the documentary was killed by the apartheid forces in Zimbabwe in 1981. And now we've got to go and shoot in Harare. But before he came to Zimbabwe, he first fled to Botswana. Now we've got to go to Gaborone. And I haven't been to both countries. And now I also need some assistance with fixing, like with visiting this place I'm going to be going to. So this meeting like this is really wonderful, because now it's going to help each other in many ways. There could be someone who wants something done in South Africa, and I'm here,
We are all here to learn and grow,
But actually, guys, because when I asked about the numbers, I heard like everyone has these difficulties about the numbers, but I didn't hear someone ask Joe if like when you are going to do like a project and say like, Joe, can you back me up because you have word, you've been there on Netflix? Never heard anybody ask that.
Good question, just.
But that's what I said. I even said it on my own. When I said let's leverage each other. Let's use our value. Let's collaborate to say if we're jumping on a project, like if we're to have that conversation, like when I said we already have a foot in the door, right? We're already in Netflix. We're already showing on Netflix, right? So beautiful. And we're here as different producers from different countries. And if we're collaborating, it's a different conversation. Like you already have their ear. Yeah, it's different from pitching blindly. So if this could be like the start of that, it would be amazing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
We'll try.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of. Sorry, someone was saying something.
Sorry. I was saying, Joe, you said that you were going to share your information. If I may, you may have it, please.
Yes, please.
Because she's not in the group. That's so.
You can also add her to the group.
She get it. No, not add her.
There's Colin who's asking to be added to the group.
Well, I actually sent you a private message, Joe.
Oh,
so if
yes, I'll add you. We will add you to the group.
Okay. Welcome
already. We can do a welcoming clap to the group. Yeah. I think. Sorry?
No, thank you so much for this. It's been extremely informative. Also a lot of insight in terms of, getting people to know, Joe, as you were mentioning, your experiences with the whole Netflix transitioning on. I'm very new to this space in terms of, film or production or anything like that, but that is the way of the future, and I think just having more of these and even just educating everybody, on the content, on the continent about the importance of, as you were saying, you can now be your own producer, you can now be your own content writer, and the different platforms now to be able to have it shown and showcased. So as much as, maybe 5 years ago, you needed a big budget, you needed equipment, you needed a lot of capital to start. Now it's really, it's you and your innovation and ideas against anybody else out there. The level playing field is now very level. And I think that's one way to really utilize that. And I think even one thing, I think everybody here on this platform should definitely do and use your platforms for this is to challenge everybody, because as much as everyone is being their own producer, everyone's doing their own content. This is just a personal observation. I'm finding where just because it's been made more level, we're also not really, and I'm just talking about the people as a whole in this area, who are going into it now, are not actually challenging themselves. It's very easy for them to do like a reality show or something like that, whereas push them a lot and be like, okay, that's great, but reality, that's fine if you want to go down that route, but there's so much more content you can do, with that. If you want to do reality, well, maybe double it up and also become like a change agent. What are you doing in your community? Showcase that, that type of thing. But overall, this has been extremely a wonderful start. And thank you. That I've been silent because I'm learning. I normally say a lot. For those who know me, I'm a big talker out there. But when it's things that it's also good to humble yourself and educate yourself on areas that you are. I'm passionate about this area, but I don't know much about it. And it's platforms like this where I'm able to educate myself. So thank you to everybody for putting this together, and I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you, Nana.
Thank you so much, Nana.
Thank you.
So, Joe, we are loving the film.
We are looking at you.
We are loving the film, Joe. And if you guys haven't watched Cook Off, please watch it. Share it on your social media platforms. I don't know about the film getting, if you get more viewership, if Joe gets extra money, but that is something that Joe does another day. But, if we can be able to support him on that, then let's do it and share it.
So the film is now also available on iTunes and Amazon, Google Play, and you can watch it on Netflix as well.
Yes. And if you have any personal questions, you can chat Joe. He's going to be able to give you a few tips here and there. But so thank you so much. We appreciate you and appreciate your time. And wow,
thank you guys.
Thank you.
So wow, that we're going to go up from here on now. I think you can give us your parting shot.
I think for me, it wasn't really that much about talking about Cook Off and Netflix. It was about seeing you guys, seeing the film family, the African film family. Like you don't know how happy I am with that. Like even putting faces to names I've just been seeing on the group. Really amazing. And I pray and hope we follow this up. This is not just about this Zoom that we did, talking about distribution and cook-off. Let's collaborate. Let's see how best we can change that African narrative that we've been talking about, because that power is in us. I think that's like what I can say. And thank you so much to everyone who put their time to be here for us to chat and talk. Respect, guys.
And then also next week, we are going to be having another episode. So guys, please join, come questions. I'm sure Debile will take it from there from the group, yeah?